Hi, my name is Mike Smith, and I'd like to welcome you to our first episode of Mike Smith's Brain. Today I'm going to talk about hosted VoIP, or hosted PBX, or hosted phone system, or whatever you'd like to call it. There's a lot of names out there, but when it comes to that segment of the market, that segment alone is growing exponentially, it seems like, by the day. If an IT professional Googles hosted phone system for a mid-sized company, they're literally going to have thousands of options. So I thought it'd be a good idea to do a quick video and at least highlight two hosted VoIP providers that I think are a great fit for a mid-sized business who needs kind of a general phone system. But before I get into the content piece, I think since this is our first episode, it's probably appropriate if I introduce myself and tell you a little bit about me. My name is probably the second most common name in the entire world. So not many of you can claim that, but I can. I'm not sure if that's something I should be proud about. I also just turned 40 last week, so feeling a little bit old today. And I am happily married to the love of my life, Carrie. And that's been the case for the last 13 years, and we have 4 beautiful little kids. And I love spending time with my family. I'm a big family guy, so with 4 kids, that takes up pretty much all my time. For the last 11 years, Carrie and I have owned Aerocom. Okay, the first provider I'd like to talk about is Telepacific. They have a great hosted PBX product. They've only had it about a couple years, but the reason why they've only had it a couple years is for the longest time, they did not want to release that product until they felt like all the bugs had been worked out with that technology with all the other providers. So they kind of let everybody else release the product and let all the first movers move on it, and decided to bring it into their product portfolio about 2 years ago. So in terms of what I like about the technology specifically with Telepacific, first thing is they offer guaranteed quality of service. So what that is that when hosted PBX first came out, some providers did it by saying, hey, you can connect your phones back to our phone system over any internet connection you want, or we can bring a circuit like a T1 line to your business's location and we can guarantee the voice quality over that circuit. So Telepacific can offer both ways, which I like. So that's one thing I like about them. The second piece is in terms of the circuit itself, Telepacific offers a variety of different types of circuits. So the great thing is that they can get you a really inexpensive connection to their hosted phone system in the cloud, meaning that if they can get you a T1, they can get you Ethernet over copper, they can get you Ethernet over fixed wireless, they can get you cellular connectivity. So there's a lot of different offerings there. So it gives us it gives a client a lot of options when it comes to how they're going to connect to the phone system. So that's the one thing I think is really good about it. The third thing I like about Telepacific is that they can offer different pricing for what we call extension seats on the hosted phone system. So why this is important, I'll tell you a little story. About a month ago, we were quoting a client and they only needed a direct phone number for their main number for their office, and everybody else in their office just needed an extension number. They did not need direct phone numbers. Telepacific was able to offer them a much lower per seat price for all of those users compared to other providers. Other providers kind of had one price for all the main users, where Telepacific, if you don't need a direct phone number for your users, they're going to give you a discounted seat price. So I think that's pretty cool for certain types of users, especially businesses that only need one main phone number. And the last thing I want to tell you about Telepacific that I think is pretty cool that they do is they have a true commitment to customer service. Service providers will always tell you that, hey, we're really committed to customer service. That's a really big deal to us, but we all know that that's not always the case. Telepacific actually does a great job with customer service. We've been working with them for about 11 years, and I can attest the fact that they actually hold true to it. They're good people from top down within their management. I think that spills down into their organization. The next provider that I want to talk to you about today is XO Communications, who has been doing it for a long time, and I think that gives them a nice, unique advantage in that they've been doing it a long time, they've been installing it a long time, and they've kind of made every mistake you can make with it, and they've corrected it. One thing that I also like about XO is that they have a lot of local connectivity nationwide. It's a huge provider that has a lot of markets lit nationwide, and what that means to a business customer is that they're going to get less expensive circuits from XO no matter where their locations are at throughout the United States sites. You'll also have a better chance with XO for getting all their other products available at all those sites as well, because they're in that market. For instance, if you want some backup POTS lines, you can get those on the same phone bill as your hosted PBX service because they're in that market. Whereas other providers who are not in all the markets, they're gonna have a tough time with the ancillary products. They might be able to get you a data circuit in a random market that they're not in, but it's gonna be more expensive and they're not gonna be able to give you the ancillary products around it. It's just gonna be a straight data circuit. So that's another thing I like about XO. XO, like Telepacific, also can give you guaranteed voice quality and deliver your hosted PBX service over a dedicated circuit, which is great. And lastly, what I really think is a neat feature that XO has is something called an Applications Performance Management tool. And what that is, that's a tool, that's a little gadget that sits on your circuit. It's an elective service, you have to pay for it. But the cool thing about it is if you're doing hosted PBX at all your sites, it can actually measure your application throughput down to the user level. So your utilization of every application that you're running, including hosted VoIP, and the quality of service and service levels that are on hosted VoIP, like your latency, packet loss, and jitter, things like that, you can measure it all the way down to the user level, not the router level. So from an administrative standpoint, if you're a mid-sized company and you're the IT director or systems admin, and you're deploying hosted PBX and you get a complaint from one of your users at one of your sites, you can, from your site, drill all the way down and figure out what's going on. Is it the fact that maybe one of your applications is overloading the circuit, or you're seeing some degradation in quality on the VoIP and you need to call in for a service ticket, things like that. I think that's a really unique feature. Okay, so that's a little bit about two different great providers we sell hosted PBX for, XO Communications and Telepacific. I hope that that little bit of information was useful to you. Please let us know what technologies and what applications you want us to do a video on, and we will pick one of those and do one of our videos on that, or several videos on that. So you can either direct message us off the platform you're watching this video on to tell us your ideas. You can also comment below and let us know that way, or you can also email us at brain@aerocominc.com. Thanks and have a great day.